Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Africa as a continent is grappling with very many challenges: poverty, illiteracy, fight against diseases, corruption, very many of them. And when you look at the whole of Africa, you will realize that all our problems are common. In fact, one of the things that is very common is that there is a new advent of neocolonialism, where our leaders are now being used as puppets by the Western machinations. Now, Africa has just realized that they need to fight together for the true meaning of democracy and freedom, because they just realized that our fates are intertwined together. A few days ago, activists from Kenya joined their counterparts in Tanzania to fight together against what they called politically motivated cases against Tundu Lissu, one of the very vocal opposition leaders in Tanzania. Now, when Martha Karua went there, they were blocked at Nyerere Airport. They were detained and later deported. But that did not stop Kenyan activists, and led by Boniface Mwangi, they went there. Now, information that is reaching this country is that Boniface Mwangi's whereabouts is not known, and Tanzania has remained tight-lipped. What makes it even sad is that the Kenyan authorities are quiet. In fact, they are supporting the disappearance, because that's what is being said now, of Boniface Mwangi. They don't want to talk about it. Boniface Mwangi was in Tanzania, and he released certain videos that were very disturbing. He had started complaining that some people were in pursuit of him and, of course, his life.
I'm in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, and there are officers outside my room who I don't know the reason why they're in my room. I was sleeping, they woke me up. They said they want to see me, but they're not saying the reason why they want to see me. And I'm scared for my life because there's a lot of abduction in this country, a lot of execution in this country, and people in jail for resisting to those dictatorship. That's why I can't open the door. Nasikia polisi wananitafuta.
Unaelewa? Sisi tupo kwenye taratibu zetu za inspection za kawaida.
Inspection kwa usiku wa manane. Siwafunzi kazi, mimi naogopa tu. Watu wanapotezwa nchi hii. Watu wanashikwa wanapotezwa, mimi naogopa kupotezwa. Either you break the door, because I'm not leaving. Itabidi mvunje mlango. Basi mimi sitoki. Sijafanya makosa yote, natoka niende wapi? Chumba nimelipia. Chumba si nimelipia, nimefanya makosa. Kama sijafanya makosa unanitia nje nini? Assurance, kama sina makosa nataka kulala, acha nilale.
Unaongeza tatizo.
Tatizo gani? Umesema sina makosa.
Unapofanya kazi ukatuzuia kufanya kazi, that is another problem.
So, have I committed an offense? Let's start there.
Identify yourselves. Identify yourselves. Let me handle it. Thank you. Let me handle it. No, don't give my voice. I'm your guest. I'm going to be enough in your hotel. I'm your guest. No. Who are they? Identify yourself.
The Tanzanian government did not take it kindly, because Madam Suluhu was complaining that these people have destroyed their country and now they want to go and perpetuate that destruction in Tanzania. She said she would not allow it, and she actually instructed the Tanzanian authorities to ensure that they crack down on such activists.
Tumeanza kuona mtiririko au mwenendo wa wanaharakati ndani ya region yetu hii kuanza kuvamia na kuingilia mambo yetu huku. Sasa kama kwao wameshadhibitiwa, wasije kutuharibia huku.
Let us face a few facts. The level of etiquette, the level of insults that we see bandied in Kenya, even though we have the freedom of speech, is sometimes going overboard. All right? So to the extent that she's saying that people sometimes have gone to extremes in their utterances in Kenya. It's a fact.
Back home, William Ruto and the entire administration is very quiet. In fact, if you want to understand how William Ruto feels, this is Samson Cherargei who is supporting this crackdown. In fact, he wishes that these people are dealt with once and for all.
Bad manners. I want to thank Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan for calling out activists who wanted to go and disrupt the peace in Tanzania. In fact, should have detained and prosecuted them because they have taught this country bad manners, Mr. Speaker. These activists, they have taught our people to insult, to undermine, to lose respect to the leadership of this country, Mr. Speaker. Tanzania is a very peaceful country. And what President Samia Suluhu Hassan said, we should respect our countries, Mr. Speaker. There is mutual respect. And I hope as the activists run around East Africa trying to meddle in the internal affairs, they must be put to stop, Mr. Speaker. Because what business would you have to go and meddle in affairs of Tanzania? What business, Mr. Speaker? These activists, and I want to ask President Samia Suluhu Hassan, Mr. Speaker, of Tanzania, to be very careful because these activists are funded by enemies of Africa who want to destabilize the unity, the peace and tranquility of most African nations, Mr. Speaker. You saw even in the last Gen Z protest, Mr. Speaker, there were allegations that international donors were financing instability, Mr. Speaker, in this country using what we call international donors, Mr. Speaker. So I want to ask the President Samia Suluhu Hassan that in the spirit of East Africa, he should assist us to discipline some of these ill-behaved activists that have continued to destabilize Kenya, Mr. Speaker. The island of peace of Tanzania must be protected, Mr. Speaker. And our finye kabisa.
The family is disturbed. The wife is crying out for justice. She's saying, if Boniface Mwangi has done anything wrong, we have the law. Let him be produced and prosecuted. And she's saying that, holding her husband is unconstitutional and criminal. She was saying this when other activists also joined together and they are demanding that Boniface Mwangi should be released. And if anything happens to Boniface Mwangi, then Mudavadi, who is the chief CS, will be responsible because he made utterances to the effect that he was supporting the detention of Boniface Mwangi.
It's been very difficult because Boni fights for people. If this was anybody, Boni would have been here. And he takes lead in fighting for people's rights. So for his rights to be violated in this way, it is completely unfair. He fights for people all over the world. So it's not fair that they are holding him, whatever they are holding him for. It's not fair, it's not right. They need to release him and send him home.
Pole sana. Maybe could you?
And we are telling Mudavadi, if anything happens to Boniface Mwangi, we, his friends, the family, and Kenyans in general, will hold you, Mudavadi, personally responsible. Yes. Because what you are doing, justifying the disappearance of a Kenyan in a foreign land, has absolutely no justification. The other day we saw someone who was about to be murdered for committing a crime, and the government of Kenya stood up and tried everything they could to stop what was about to happen. Why is it that the same is not being done so that we are told where Boniface Mwangi is? In the event, because we believe he has not committed any offense, in the event he has committed...
Ladies and gentlemen, there is cause for worry. And people even think that if we are not careful, Boniface Mwangi could be brought back a dead man. It is that serious, and I will tell you why. Kindly subscribe to our channel if you are watching for the first time. Click the notification bell. Please like and share our videos. Ladies and gentlemen, many of these politically motivated deaths start and begin like this, and people talk about it as if it is just a trivial matter. Then before you know it, that person is dead. and there will be never justice, because if you look at the Kenyan government, they are not serious. So I want to give you only 4 reasons why people are worried that this is not a small matter. Number one, Suluhu herself had instructed the authorities that they should deal with activists, because she had the position that these people are being sponsored, they have destroyed Kenya, so they are now expanding to the other territory. You know, such sentiments coming from the head of state and the head of government and the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces should worry us, because they can make good their threat. Who knows? They can maim him. They can, maybe, if he's not killed, they can ensure that they beat him thoroughly, so that by the time he comes back, he's no longer able to carry on with the activism. So we are worried because of the very instructions from the head, the commander-in-chief. Number two, the scenes of how Tundu Lissu was shot at, I don't know, 12 times. Unapiga mtu risasi, sijui zilikuwa more than 10. Those scenes are still very fresh in our mind. If they can do that to an opposition leader, this is their son, one of their own. What about somebody who just come from the other neighborhood? Someone they have described as trying to destroy their country. I can assure you that if they did that to Tundu Lissu, they can do that to a Kenyan, because this is not even one of their son. Afadhali wacha nitumie Kiswahili kwa sababu wa Tanzania ni Waswahili, ya kwamba wanasema zimu likujualo halikukuli likakumaliza. Let someone interpret for you. So you can imagine that if, in light of the method that I've given you, if they could do that to Tundu Lissu, going against the method ambayo nimekuambia, then Boniface Mwangi's life should worry us. Number 3, Boniface had complained that these people are even trailing him, coming at him in the middle of the night, and he was worried, who are these people? If you have a case against someone, just wait for him during day and tell him we want to investigate you or something. So by the mere fact that Boniface Mwangi himself had raised concerns about his life, then it must worry all of us as a country that he's missing and they don't want to produce him. Number 3, the Kenyan counterpart is supporting, the government is supporting the illegal detention of Boniface Mwangi. Because if they were not supporting it, people like Samson Cherargei wouldn't have been speaking the way they're speaking. The government would have helped through the embassy. This is just some diplomatic relations. You simply tell them, tafadhali, produce our son. But Boniface Mwangi has been a thorn in the flesh to the Ruto administration. They would be very happy if Boniface Mwangi is maimed or killed beyond the borders, because now they will not take the blame. They will say it is a Tanzanian authority, and when they are asked, they will say the Tanzanian authorities are still, investigating who did this, and the perpetrators will be brought to book. Who knows? The criminal justice system, just like it's happening in Kenya, it will happen in Africa, the whole of Africa. So by the fact that Ruto and its administration is supporting this, we are really worried. Boniface is an activist. And these administrations, whether it is in Uganda, Tanzania, or Kenya, they believe these people are being sponsored. Now, what worries me is that if you look at, listen to Samson Cherargei, when they are being aided to government by the US, like William Ruto was assisted to become the president, then the international community is just good. But when they suspect that the international community is now funding these activists, then the international community is bad. Mkuki kwa nguruwe kwa binadamu ni chungu. Leo natumia Kiswahili mingi kwa sababu nataka pia niongee wa Tanzania wanisikize. So ladies and gentlemen, our freedom and our quest for justice is intertwined. We face, very unique challenges as a continent, but they are almost similar. Look at your country if you are not coming from Kenya and you are watching this. Poverty, illiteracy, diseases, overdependence, and being slaves to the international community. Neocolonialism, where presidents are being forced on us by or supported by the international community, and they want to force their agenda on us. So ladies and gentlemen, we must speak on one accord, condemn the illegal detention of Boniface Mwangi, and we demand that he be released without any conditions.